Well, hello, Las Vegas. This is Monique Buchanan, the host of the Welcome Home with Monique show. I hope that you are having an amazing day today, loving this beautiful weather. Listen, I just want to go ahead and jump into the show today. I've got yet another great show for you. And yes, today I'm going to be talking about solar once again. And why, Monique? Why are you talking about solar? You're a real estate agent. I'm talking about it because I have partnered up with an amazing solar company. I've had many of my clients reach out to me because they were very upset about this, the bills that they're receiving from, NV Energy, you guys. We all know that the rate hikes have affected all of us, and that is the largest expense after you purchase a home is your energy for that home. So this is still a real estate issue. Okay. So I want to help you guys out. And so by doing that, I'm bringing on my solar partners with power. We've got Chris, and Chris is a solar engineer. Hi, Chris.
How's it going today?
Great. And then we've got Brittany, who is a solar ambassador on.
How's everybody doing?
Great. Okay. So you guys, like I said, this is still real estate because it still pertains to your homes. You know me, I'm always trying to save y'all a couple dollars or help you out in some kind of way. If I think that it's great and I have it for myself for 7 years, I have been blessed to have my rates locked in for 7 years. I've paid $130 for my power. So I was not affected over the summer like many of my past clients that were reaching out to me. Monique, please send me somebody for solar. Who do you know? So that's why I'm sharing my folks with you here on this platform, because I know there's many of you out there that want to divorce dirty energy. If you want to divorce dirty energy, stay tuned and listen to all the great reasons you should, besides you helping our world for our children that's going to be here, right? So let's go ahead and jump into it. Hey, Chris.
How you doing, Monique?
I'm good. You see, I'm long-winded. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with a couple of the reasons I hear some people say they don't want to possibly, go solar. I'm sure you hear a lot of them, right?
Fire away. Let's go.
All right. We're going to start off with that because I'm telling you, I talk to people and these are some of the things that I get back. Monique, it's too expensive.
Well, I could get snarky with you right now and tell you it's going to be cheaper than going with NV Energy. But the truth of the matter is solar panels have a multitude of different ways that you can go about putting them on your roof. There's a common misconception that I have to write a big old check, that I have to write a $30,000 check, $40,000 check, whatever, or a $5,000 check for a down payment. But the way things are put up together, there's no down payment required for the vast majority of people.
So no money down?
No money down. And when it's all squared away and done, if we take your average electric bill and your average solar bill, your bill as it looks out, in many cases, we're able to save people anywhere between 25 and 30% day one.
Wow.
And if we're doing that on day one with no money out of pocket, then it's not that it's not too expensive. It's actually cheaper than what you're already doing.
Right.
So it may sound a little bit snarky, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than your electric bill.
Yeah, and I've also heard that, hey, if you just keep paying the NV Energy for 10 years, you've bought two sets of solar panels, right?
That is very common. That is a very common thing. NV Energy is going to go up regularly. They're not going to stop, right? And so even if you're saving $10 a month now, well, five years from now, that $10 a month, you're saving $115 or $120 or even more. Your bill hasn't changed and theirs has. The gap just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every time they raise their rates. Right. So even if it turns out to be just an even bill swap, give yourself 6 months. Now you're saving money.
Right.
It's cheaper than what you're already doing.
And Brittany, I've got one for you. What about when they say, well, I don't want to be in a contract?
Well, technically, you are in a contract with NV Energy. At this point, it's a lifelong contract. You just didn't necessarily sign the contract, but it's almost implied, right? In a sense, you are going to pay for your energy. You are never going to not need it. Right. So solar is giving you another option. And that's really the point of the show today, is to provide you as a homeowner with all of your options. Right. Educate yourself and really figure out what is best for you.
Absolutely. And you know what? My homeowners are blessed to have this option because unfortunately, the renters do not have this option unless
the homeowner decides.
The landlord decided to go ahead. And you were telling me something about You know a landlord that actually did that, and he did it for a purpose. Share with my listeners.
We have an investment client that decided that he was going to put solar on all of his investment properties, and he went with a PPA option. And if you're interested in knowing more about your options, definitely feel free to reach out. What that option did was lock in the rate for all of his renters, and so it made his investment properties more incentivized for a renter to be able to come in and say, I know that I can afford this home, not only the monthly payment, but I have a locked-in rate on my energy bill as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a good point to make, because in real estate we realize that if you're renters, when is the number one time that people default on their rent? They default in the summertime.
Right.
They default in the summertime when they're budgeted themselves for $200 a month on their electric bill, and all of a sudden they just got hit with $500, and they no longer have enough money to pay for both. Right.
Absolutely.
Whereas a landlord, if I can now have the solar payment up there, I can curb that. Right now I have a set payment, and I can include it in the rent itself and advertise utilities included, or however I want to word that legally. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then I don't have to worry about that change. Right. And I don't have to worry about the default.
Right.
And the renter can budget, and it works out well for the renter. It works out really well for the landlord at the same time. Now, They're not coming up with a mortgage payment because of a default.
Absolutely.
That's great information. Okay, let's jump back into it. Now, what about, well, I'm not sure if my credit is where it needs to be. What does that look like as far as credit goes?
Well, many of our programs that are out there nationwide, many of the programs will, I've seen things happen as low as 625, a 625 credit score.
That's fair.
So, many people that are going a little further, a little bit better, that's fine. But there are programs that I've seen that'll go as low as a 625 score. So it's always worth giving it a try.
Okay, yeah.
And the great news on that, too, is that most of these programs, the vast majority of these programs that reputable companies are using, that check is a soft credit check. So if you're concerned with it being a 625 score and dinging it down because they checked, that's not going to happen. If it's on a reputable one, most of these lenders are going to do that on a soft check for you.
Okay, great. And you know, your guys' company, of course, goes with the one that's on a soft credit check?
Correct. We don't have any of them in ours right now that does a hard check.
That's awesome to know. So
I was going to say, not to cut you off, Monique, but to Chris's point, that is also why you want to get with somebody that you trust. You want to go to your trusted advisor so that you're going through a reputable company, because solar has a bad rep for a reason. There are a lot of not reputable companies or people that are just getting in because they see it as an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Right. You really want to get with a company that has some long standing and some weight in the game behind them.
Absolutely. And that's why I've aligned myself with Power, because I see that they have that reputation, but they also have one that I hadn't seen any other company have, which is a 30-year bumper-to-bumper warranty on their panels. Is that right?
Yeah. Power offers a industry unique 30-year warranty. A lot of people will advertise a warranty of 25. I have a couple of them will advertise 30, but when you dig into it, it's piece by piece, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got your standard items, you've got your panels, and you've got your inverters, and you've got your wiring and your mounting, and then the one that people don't think about as much, but it's equally as important, is that's the roof penetration itself, right? Actually bolting it to your roof and not causing a roof leak, right? That's kind of important.
Yeah, a little bit.
So the industry standard for most of them, if you're dealing with a quality panel, is it comes from the factory with a 25-year warranty. Your inverters are going to be 15 to 25, depending on which one you went with, and your mounting is going to be 15 to 25, right? Mm-hmm. Power offers a industry unique 30-year what we call an umbrella warranty that jumps over top of that and covers all of that, including the roof penetration, for 30 years.
So you're telling me if I get a leak with my panels from Power that it will be covered?
Zero deductible, labor included, for 30 years.
Awesome. That's amazing.
So match that up from a real estate perspective, right? Many of your people are buying on a mortgage that's 30 years, right? So we just matched up with your mortgage. So if you're just coming into the home and you got a 30-year mortgage, now you got a 30-year warranty. You get something up on the roof you don't have to worry about. Yeah. And it matches with what you're already doing. Again, that goes back to budgeting, right? It allows you to be able to lay yourself out, figure out where you're going, and actually know what your costs are going to be every month and not have to worry. That's awesome. So if you're just tuning in, this is Monique Buchanan, and I'm speaking with Chris and Brittany. They are my solar partners. So I'm sure a lot of you have been out there thinking, you know what, it's time. I need to go ahead and get rid and divorce dirty energy and come on over to the clean energy. Because guess what, guys? We're heading that way whether you like it or not. Right. It's the future. Okay, so if you want to learn more, you can call 702-389-9200.
702-389-9200, or you can simply jump on www.divorcedirtyenergy.com. Again, www.divorcedirtyenergy.com. Okay, Chris, I got another one for you. You ready?
Go for it. Let's do it.
How about those panels are ugly? They look terrible. I don't want them on my house.
Well, I get it, right? We all have different preferences, right? I drive a black car, and my wife hates black cars. My wife has a bright red car, and I don't, right? We all have different things that we aesthetically are attracted to and things that are not, right? But I do think one thing that we're all aesthetically attracted to is savings.
Right.
Right. So sometimes there's a little bit of a give and take. I'm not going to sit there and try to convince somebody that what I look at and I like, they're going to look at and like.
Right.
But I can tell them this. The panels that we're putting up there now are not the ones you're used to seeing that have the blue with the white lines all through them. Those are good panels, don't get me wrong. But the newer panels are sleek black.
I was very jealous. I was very jealous when I seen your guys' panels because I have the old school panels. They're all bulky and they're ugly. And your guys' look like flat screen TVs. It looked like the house was about to light up like that big eyeball on the strip.
Yeah, they are a lot more aesthetically pleasing than they used to be, and so there's a nice change there. But the truth of the matter is, I really just need to decide. If I'm a homeowner and I'm looking at them, say, look, that's not my favorite thing to look at when I drive down.
Right.
I kind of jokingly ask them if they know what color their roof is, because the truth is they don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of them don't.
We're not looking up that often.
We're not looking up that often. We truly don't. We get used to it. We'll stop seeing it anyway. But what we won't stop seeing is the savings, and that in and of itself, and most times
is it
worth it.
Yeah. It's
Well,
worth
and
it.
I will say too, I think that thought process will go away as we step into the future, because more and more homeowners are going to make this switch as they see the potential saving costs, or the saving costs, not even potential, right? And as the government starts to feel the need to really change the grid system that they currently have in place, because we have so much change coming down the years to come that solar is really going to be the way that you're going to need to go.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, there are state laws that have already been passed in some states, and state laws that are coming this way, where solar is going to be required on new construction, right? In California, it's already required. You build a new house in California, you have to put solar on it.
Yeah.
That law has actually already been put into place here as well. It just hasn't kicked in yet.
Right.
I'd have to look it up. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm pretty certain that kick-in date is 2030. So we got a little bit of a gap, but it's coming. It's coming. So to your point, it's going to be there.
Right.
You might as well get in when it's...
well, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Get in now.
It's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great answers. Okay, so what about my neighbor only has 10 panels? I have the same house as him. Why are you trying to put 15 panels on my house?
That's probably one of the most common questions that comes up, because people do compare with their neighbors, right? And I don't blame them.
I would. Yeah, I'd be like, hey, we got the same house here.
Hey, there's a reason we keep up with the Joneses, right?
Right.
We're all trying to keep up with the Joneses to some degree, and sometimes we don't want, and none of us want to get ripped off, right? None of us want to be scammed out of something and go from there. So that's a great question. But if I could, my own home, for example, I live right across the street. I live in a D.R. Horton planned community, and the guy directly across the street from me has identical home to me. It's just mirrored, opposite side of that street. Well, in my home, I only had 2 people living in my home. He had 5 adults. I keep my air conditioner at 78, 79, and when I'm gone, it runs at 80, 81, 82, whereas he keeps his at 76 and 77 with 2.5 times as many people living there.
Right.
His electric bill is $100 a month more than my average bill was.
Right.
So sometimes it really is just a matter of people living there and their living habits. Other times it really is just the direction of the panels and where they go. If my panels are facing due south and yours are facing due north,
I'm going to get more sun than you.
Yeah, well, the southern ones are going to get a lot more sun. Yeah. And so because they get more sun, they're going to be more efficient.
Right.
And I'm going to need less of them. So every home is specific. Every home is different. And a quality company is going to sit down and build this out based off of your energy needs and keep all of your roof lines in mind.
Right.
So you may actually need more than your neighbor, and sometimes you may need less than your neighbor.
Absolutely.
And to that point, that is why when you connect with us, we are going to ask for a copy of your bill. And that's just so that we can customize that solution for you. As a reputable company, we are going to look at that and make sure that what you are purchasing or what we are offering is a customized solution for you and your home.
Absolutely. And that's something that you guys do that I don't find a lot do. And, you know, it's not cookie cutter. A lot of them are just cookie cutter. Like, for instance, the unfortunate company that I went with, you know, he knocked on my door. I answered, and I just got the cookie cutter. And I was told recently that I actually don't have enough panels. But I didn't know you guys then. So,
well, there's actually a solution for that too, but because you're not unique in that regard, right? What's called the supplemental system can be added and go down and do it. It's built very much like a simple system. We just simply look at what your new need is and offset the rest of it. So,
got it.
Add a few panels and tie it back in and go through that process. So, if you find yourself in that scenario, we can help with that as well.
You can still reach out.
Yes, and there's a lot of people I know that I'm not the only one that's in that scenario. That's I still, like I said, my bill is still $130, and it covers me. But during one summer, I had to pay NV Energy a little bit more. Well, they went up as well, so I had to pay them a little bit more. And I had another company come out, and that's who told me that you don't have enough panels. So, anyways, but that's good to know for people out there that have already received solar. They can also reach out to have that remedied.
Yeah, if there's a gap, if they're still getting an NV Energy bill or a bill from whatever their utility company is, because there's a few of them around, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If they're getting a bill from their utility company, then yeah, let's take a look at it. It could certainly be done. A supplemental system can be added up onto the roof, and if you've got the space for it, and we'll do our best to help offset that. It's not going to be a full-blown system like the other one. Hopefully it's not as big.
Yeah.
Hopefully they didn't undersize you by 50%.
Put 2 panels up there.
But it can be done. Let's take a look at it and see if it makes sense.
That's awesome to know. That's a great point. Okay, here's one more. And this is actually for me as well. So I'm a realtor, and I have a lot of mine say, well, Monique, I'm thinking about selling my home. Mm-hmm. And so I'll let you speak on it. Go ahead, and then I'll put my 2 cents in.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Let's just role play that for a second, right, Brittany? If you're buying a house, right, and you're being an informed consumer, mm-hmm. you're looking at a lot of different things. You're looking at the price of the house. You're looking at the cost of my mortgage every month. You're looking at all of your expenses, right? If I'm going to be a good informed consumer, I'm going to ask those questions, and if I'm going to be a good real estate agent, I'm going to have answers for them, right?
Absolutely.
If I approached you and you were looking at purchasing my home, for example, and you had the opportunity to either buy the house across the street and pay whatever the utility rate is, mm-hmm, right now locally, it's taxes included, you're running close to 20 cents a kilowatt hour, right?
Right.
What if I showed you that my house was already locked in at 13? Is that a selling point or no?
No, absolutely. It's a selling point because now I can forecast what my bills will be well into the future instead of just second guessing it.
Yeah, so you have the option of getting a locked-in payment, right? That's already significantly cheaper. So now I can afford more home because I have less ancillary costs, right?
Absolutely.
And so that can happen. So if somebody's going to move, it becomes a selling point if it's done correctly. Absolutely. And there are ways it can be done wrong. Don't get me wrong. That can be done. That can be done as well. But that's, again, piece of the information to let a reputable consultant know, so that they can help make sure that you're on a plan that's going to make it very simple for you moving forward. There are definitely options there.
Right.
And at the same point, if I'm not going to do that for 3 or 4 years, why would I just donate a whole bunch of money to to Dirty Energy? Why would I donate a whole bunch of money to Dirty Energy just to avoid that?
Yeah.
When I can actually increase the value of my home along the way, that I can increase the marketability of my home along the way, and save money myself in between.
Absolutely.
So there are certainly good ways to do that.
And to Monique's point as well, again, you want to make sure you're going through a reputable company, because when you are selling your home, the complaints that we have seen have really been strictly because the process has been lengthy or confusing or just really difficult, right? To get that UCC transferred or removed or whatever the case may be. Right. And a reputable company is not going to leave you high and dry to figure that process out.
That's right. And so when you do, like when I list properties, I always get copies of the bills because buyers want to see that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're coming from an apartment and now they're buying a 2,300 square foot home. Well, they want to see, what is this going to look like for me per month? So I tell my sellers, I want a copy of your guys' bills so that I can have that laid out for them to see. And I'll tell you what, 20% faster do the homes sell that have solar panels are leased. It simply transfers to the new buyer like a HOA. They just have to qualify for the payment. Normally it's less than half of what they would have paid for with normal, MV Energy. So it's not a liability, you guys. It's an asset. Any buyer would love to know that they're going to have free power and that you paid half their bill off.
And
right, Chris?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, think for a second. Let's just put ourselves in, this is a real estate show, so let's put ourselves in the head of a real estate buyer, right?
Right.
If I'm putting myself in the head of a real estate buyer, then let's just be real in today's market, right? There are a lot of people that maybe they qualify for, let's just use a number. Let's just say it's a $400,000 mortgage, and a $400,000 mortgage, 3 years ago might have bought them a house that's 23, 24, 2,500, 3,000 square feet. And today it's buying them 16, 17, 18, right? And now their family's tight. So they're still going to run all the way up to that 400 to fit. And now they're asking, well, wait a minute, if I take this over, what's going to happen to my debt to income?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if we know that that's going to be the case, we can plan for that. There are actually options that don't involve your debt to income at all.
That's great.
So there are options out there where you don't have to take on debt to income yourself personally. And then when you're selling your home, we can set it up where the buyer doesn't have to take on debt to income either.
Yeah.
And that allows the buyer to have the freedom to buy the home that they need and not worry about being kicked out. So there are options.
Okay, and if you're just tuning in, this is Monique Buchanan, the Welcome Home Show host, and I've got Brittany and Chris from Power, my solar power energy partners, and they are going over some of your options and some of the, the pushback that you get when you hear people that just don't want to go solar. And so we're trying to answer those questions that you may have right now. And if you're interested in speaking with one of them, you can reach them at 702-389-9200, 702-389-9200, and that website is www.divorcedirtyenergy.com. All right, so let's jump back into it. One more question for you. All right, and then I want to talk about the products, because you do more than just solar panels. There's so much more to it. You guys got some amazing things going on. What about this one? My bill is already low. Maybe I'm already on that MV Energy payment plan, and so I already got a $120 bill per month. My bill is already low, Chris. I don't need solar.
Well, look, if your bill's already low, I hope it stays that way. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
I hope for your sake it stays that way. But again, we've used this term reputable company a lot, right? A reputable company is going to look at it and just simply say, look, your bill where you're at, the financials don't make sense. If I was referring this to my mom, my dad, my grandmother, whatever, treating you like family, and I wouldn't refer it to them because of where their bill's at, then a reputable individual, reputable company is going to tell you, you're in a really good spot.
You can stay where you are.
You can make the choice because you want to go green. You can make the choice because you want it locked in long term. You can make the choice for whatever. But if you're looking for savings, it may or may not be there.
Right.
But an honest consultant's going to tell you that.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to slam you into something or push you into something to make you feel like it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? And that's what attracted me to you guys, because when I had my consultation, I almost felt like you guys were like the Santa Claus from the Miracle on 34th Street, right? Listen, if you can't get it cheap with me, down the street over there, you can, and that impressed me, the transparency of the company.
Right.
I didn't feel pressured. I don't like high pressure sales. That's why I got into real estate. By the time they come to me, they want to buy a house. I'm not sitting here trying to push people into anything, and I don't like to be pushed myself.
Right.
And so that's another reason that I partnered up with you guys, because I know that you're not going to treat my clients like that, my listeners. If they give you a call, you're going to educate them. It's going to be their decision if they want to move forward or not. You're just there to answer their questions, show them what it looks like. No high pressure sales here, but education.
And Monique, that's the key. That is really the purpose, again, of today's show, is to educate, to give you your options as a homeowner. And honestly, I really don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to know what your options are. There are so many benefits. So at least give yourself the opportunity.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up, because let's talk about all these pop-ups that you see, Chris. the governor just signed something. You can get $10,000 cash if you get solar. Can you talk about all these pop-ups you see on Facebook and everywhere else?
Man, I'll tell you this. I wish they were true.
Right, me too.
I wish that thing that popped up. I had one pop up yesterday that said, "Hey, you can get up to $8,500 cash back right now." And I thought, I even saw a commercial where the guy walked in and had $8,500 in cash, where he was handing a homeowner, and I'm like, man, I really wish that was true. Unfortunately, it's not. What it is a lot of those things are actually a very creative and, in my opinion, deceptive way of referring back to the federal tax credit. The federal tax credit is 30% of the cost of the system. There are things that are out there. People say, well, hey, I added a roof to it. Well, it doesn't technically. That's not the system, right?
Right.
Matter of fact, you go to energy.gov and it's going to actually tell you that the only way the roof qualifies for that tax credit is if the roof is actually producing the power, because you get, those solar roofing tiles or something along those lines. Then that's killing a two for one. So yes, it counts. But most of those other ones, unfortunately, are just not true. The tax credit itself is a credit. It's not an automatic check, right? Think of it this way, and this is an illustration I'll give my wife credit for. Think of it like this. It's like having a gift card to Target, right? Mm-hmm. And if I never go to Target, that gift card's not going to worth anything. And just because I have a gift card to Target doesn't mean Target's going to write me a $500 check just for having it, right? I got to go use it, right? I got to go get something. So same thing is true here. It's like having a giant gift card to the IRS. And if I owe them money, well, they just take it off the gift card instead of out of my pocket. Right.
Nice.
And if I already sent it in, they're like, well, no gift card covered it. What you already sent me, I'll send back.
Right.
And if if you use it all up on year one, fantastic. If you don't, it rolls over up to 5 years to get your money back.
Yeah, so it's just clickbait, you guys. It's not it's not true. It's just clickbait. Okay.
Let me throw this in there real quick, because we are a nationwide company. If this happens to get out to other places, there are certain states that do have what they call solar renewable energy credits, and they have different programs. Here locally, we don't have those, and what's popping up on our stuff is a lot of clickbait.
Okay.
Outside of here, if I were to say, for example, Illinois has solar renewable energy credits. Those are some things. Some of those are legit, all right? But let's just make sure that the state that you're dealing in is going to give you the truth and not just some automatic $10,000
And you can
check.
help them in other states as well. So you don't have to just be here in Nevada, just so you guys know.
Yeah, we operate in 24 different states and about to add a 25th in. So we're a nationwide company. Great.
Okay, so let's jump into it for our last couple minutes. And again, you guys, that number is 702-389-9200, 702-389-9200. You can get scheduled for more information and have a quick conversation here with Chris, www.divorcedirtyenergy.com. You can jump on there as well and schedule. They don't have to purchase. You have lease options. You have the PPA. Can you touch on that? And then I'm going to wrap this right on up. Just the PPA one.
Yeah, PPA is simply a power purchase agreement. Basically, that means that somebody else buys the system, they put it up on your roof, and they sell you the power at a locked-in rate. So you don't even have to worry about the debt to income. You don't have to worry about the insurance on it. The third party owns it. It goes on your roof, and it's very, very simple. You just know what your electric bill is going to be.
So it's basically, Brittany, like just switching your power company, right?
Exactly.
That's it. Switch your power
and locking
company.
in the rate so that you're no longer going to have all those rate hikes.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. This was a great show, and I have to have you back on again, because this is a hot topic. People are tired of paying those high fees. Yep. All right. Have a beautiful weekend.